Mangwanani Madelepo Vukenjani, Klekwas Dumelang, Vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. These are some of the top stories that we're going to be looking at on Africa Good Morning. Gabon opposition figure Bilie-By-Nze detained in controversial arrest. Malawi opposition leader Chithyola Banda emerges defiant after arrest. Burkina Faso junta shuts down over 100 civil society groups. Pope Leo criticises foreign exploitation during Cameroon visit. Tinubu declares 2027 bid and slams ADC convention. And our opening story will be Julius Malema handed 5-year sentence, but his appeal delays prison time. This is Africa Good Morning on DSTV 285, GOTV 25, oneup2.com and NTVAFRIKA.MY.NA. You are joined by Ashwin Berry on a Friday. Top story shortly.
Namibia is a land of movement, with waves that never stop reaching forward. Here, adventure is not something we search for. It is something we are born into. In every corner of this country, creativity rises, from artists, from athletes, from dreamers. And when the world comes to explore Namibia, they discover something extraordinary. Because when sport moves people, creativity moves ideas, and tourism moves the world toward us. Something powerful happens. A platform where movement meets imagination, where industries connect, where opportunity grows, where Namibia's next chapter begins. Welcome to the Creative Sport Tourism Expo. Exhibit, partner, experience. Creative Sport Tourism.
All right, we start with the biggest news story in Southern Africa and is surrounding a man who is not shy of the news at all, Julius Malema. 45, sentenced to 5 years after being found guilty of illegal possession of a firearm and firing it into the air in public. Magistrate Toinette Olivier allowed the Economic Freedom Fighters leader and MP to appeal, meaning he was not immediately taken to prison. Malema showed little emotion in court as the sentence was delivered. He had been convicted last year on 5 charges, including unlawful possession, discharging a firearm in public, and reckless endangerment linked to a 2018 incident in the Eastern Cape, where he fired a semi-automatic rifle during party celebrations. Olivier said it was not an impulsive act and that Malema should account for his actions given his large following. Outside court, Malema alleged a conspiracy without providing evidence and said he would not be silenced. Supporters gathered in large numbers chanting in Xhosa. If upheld, the sentence would disqualify him from being an MP for 5 years, though the appeal process could take several years, allowing him to continue his political career. Here is Julius Malema in his own words.
We can tell you now, no sober judge will ever agree that a person shoot one bullet and then is sentenced for 5 years. It is because she has not read her own judgment to know that a reasonable, normal, presiding officer will never come to that determination. So, comrades, we are done with her. That's why when she said to me, you can leave now on a free bail, I looked at her and I said, bye-bye. Because I've seen her ugly face for too long. So I'm going, I will no longer appear before that ugly white face. I'm going to the highest court where they don't use emotions. They use the law what does the law say and apply the law. So we must not even look back, we are going forward. The campaigns of the EFF must continue business as usual. I told you when she found me guilty that I'm going to appeal until the highest court, until the constitutional court. So those who thought they will have me in jail, you must know I'm still around. I'm not going anywhere. I told you yesterday that tomorrow I'm going home with you. And that's what is happening. Wherever the enemy is, it's highly pained by the fact that we are going home. We did not even have to pay for a bail. They just said free bail, go home. So we are going home to work for the EFF. That's what home means. It means the work of the EFF continues. We are going to do our door-to-door. We are going to register those who are not registered. We are going to make sure that we win municipalities when the elections come. They are trying by all means to silence this voice. They will never win. Once more, they failed today, they will fail tomorrow, and they will fail in the near future. The sooner they accept defeat, the better. They will never win against us. They tried us when we're still young, and they will never win with us when we're this old. We've got an experience of a 65-year-old at a 45-year-old.
We move to Gabon, where authorities have arrested opposition leader Alain Claude Bilie-By-Nze. His Together for Gabon party confirmed, describing the operation as arbitrary, brutal, and contrary to the rule of law. He was detained at his home, with the party linking the arrest to a 2008 Festival of Cultures case involving an alleged unpaid government debt. The party condemned the move as a serious political maneuver aimed at silencing a critical voice. Bilie-By-Nze previously served under former President Ali Bongo and was Prime Minister from January to August 2023 before a coup removed Bongo. He later contested the presidential election, finishing second behind Brice Oligui Nguema, who secured more than 94% of the vote. In recent months, he opposed a February social media suspension and criticized nationality law reforms adopted by decree. These measures came amid unrest, including a teacher strike. His arrest now adds to political tensions as authorities face continued criticism over governance decisions and restrictions introduced under the current administration in Gabon. Now we swing over to opposition politics in Malawi, where leader of opposition Simplex Chithyola Banda says his recent arrest has not weakened his resolve, presenting a message that is reflective yet firmly defiant. Speaking on social media, he described the experience of being arrested and taken to court as difficult but instructive, shaped by faith, patience, and understanding. His statement follows his release on bail by the principal resident magistrate's court in connection with the 25 billion kwacha abuse of office case linked to a fertilizer for soya exchange deal involving Romanian firm Eastbridge. Despite the high-profile nature of the case, Chithyola Banda avoided attacking law enforcement, saying officers were carrying out their duties. He extended no bitterness, choosing instead a composed tone. However, he made clear his stance was not one of surrender, framing the ordeal as a test rather than a defeat. He urged Malawans to pray for the nation, its people and leadership, calling for unity and wisdom, while affirming that he remains determined and unbroken as legal proceedings continue. Now we move over to Burkina Faso, where the military government has dissolved around 118 civil society organizations in a sweeping move tightening control over civic space. Authorities announced the ban in a statement, saying the decision forms part of enforcing a stricter regulatory framework introduced after the 2022 coup. Many of the affected associations were involved in human rights work. Territorial Administration Minister Emile Zebo said the dissolutions were linked to compliance with a law introduced in July 2025 to regulate civil society organizations more strictly. He warned that offenders would face penalties under existing regulations. The move follows earlier suspensions and revocations of licenses for several rights groups. The junta, led by Ibrahim Traore, has steadily restricted NGOs, trade unions, and opposition groups. Authorities say the measures are administrative, but observers say they reflect a broader pattern of shrinking freedoms. We're going to take a quick break before we take a trip to Cameroon as we cover Pope Leo XIV, the 14th visit to the nation of Cameroon, as well as Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu addressing his own party quite poignantly. In a world where politicians promise the moon and deliver potholes, where democracy sometimes arrives in camouflage and ballots often look like formalities, one show dares to laugh with Africa, at Africa, and sometimes for Africa. This is Second Take, your weekly dose of political satire with an African soul and a global edge. From coups disguised as press briefings to ministers moonwalking past accountability, we serve the real news with sharper writing. Each week we bring you the TikTok of the week because sometimes the revolution is vertical, and the heartwarming moment of the week to remind us that not everything is burning. We also sit down with the bold, the brilliant, and the brave, voices that question power, stir thought, and spark laughter. Because when the headlines are wild, the leaders are louder, and the truth is lost in translation, we all need a second take. All right, we continue with the news as Pope Leo has criticized foreigners who exploit Africa's wealth for profit during a visit to Cameroon, delivering strong remarks in Banda, a city affected by a long-running separatist conflict. Addressing about 20,000 worshippers, he said outsiders continue to exploit and plunder the continent in the name of profit, while also condemning global spending on war and urging the government to address corruption. He visited Banda under military escort, where crowds gathered singing, waving flags. Earlier, he attended a peace meeting at St. Joseph's Cathedral focused on the nearly decade-long conflict in Cameroon's Anglophone region. Now, religious leaders and victims shared experiences including killings, kidnappings, as well as displacement. Archbishop Nkea delivered a deeply emotional welcome address at St. Joseph's Metropolitan Cathedral, which many described as raw, courageous, as well as saying as it is, giving voice to nearly a decade of suffering. Here is the Archbishop.
For the past 8 years, many of our people have suffered a lot from a situation they did not create. Thousands are either internally displaced or escaped as refugees. Businesses were shut down, and for about 4 years, our children were not allowed to go to school. Children were used as a political bait. Many priests, religious, and bishops of this province have either been harassed, beaten, kidnapped, or even killed in this conflict. Yet, the church continues to carry the gospel as a light of hope among a traumatized people. Many women have been rendered widows, children orphaned, and many people rendered homeless by this crisis. Most Holy Father, today that your feet are standing on the soil of Bamenda, that has drunk the blood of many of our children, we in Bamenda can address ourselves in the messianic words of the prophet Isaiah. A people that walked in darkness has seen a great light. On those who live in the land of deep shadow, a light has shone. You have made their gladness greater. You have made their joy increase. They rejoice in your presence as men rejoice at the harvest time, as men are happy when they are dividing the spoils. We are happy because in this time of crisis, we see you as a messenger of peace. We see you as an ambassador of reconciliation. We see you as a promoter of justice. We see in you the presence of God Himself among us, who has come to visit His people like the dawn from on high. Even if the Holy Father says nothing today, His presence is a consoling presence. His blessings bring peace, and His words come like anointing on the wounds of those who are bleeding. With your presence here, Holy Father, I can confidently say, now is the time for peace.
Bonjour à tous et bienvenue.
Now, of course, the Pope also delivered his own speech, a speech which seems to have reverberated across the global community, particularly with regards to the ongoing war between Iran and the USA, albeit there being a ceasefire. We do know that Donald Trump responded to the Pope's speech, and if you're wondering what exactly may have triggered him, this is what Pope Leo said.
Your witness, your work for peace can be a model for the whole world. Jesus told us, blessed are the peacemakers. But woe to those who manipulate religion in the very name of God for their own military, economic, or political gain, dragging that which is sacred into darkness and filth. Yes, my dear sisters and brothers, you who hunger and thirst for justice, who are poor, merciful, meek, and pure of heart, you who have wept, you are the light of the world.
Now, we'll swing swiftly back fully, this time, into the political arena, and we are in Nigeria, where President Bola Tinubu declared he is fully prepared for the 2027 presidential election, framing it as a defining moment to lift Nigerians out of poverty and ignorance. Speaking amid growing opposition activity, he dismissed the African Democratic Congress National Convention as noise-making and the rascality of a street convention. He described the election as an opportunity to break the shackles of poverty and ensure democracy survives. His remarks come as opposition figures, including Atiku Abubakar, Ralph Aregbesola, and David Mark, used the ADC platform to criticize the administration over economic hardship, rising insecurity, and unfulfilled promises. The early positioning signals that the 2027 contest is already taking shape in Nigeria, with opposition actors exploring possible coalitions. Here is Bola Tinubu.
To various comments, I'm inspired, I'm ready. I'm grateful to all of you. This is an opportunity of lifetime. to break the shackle of poverty, ignorance, to put freedom in the hearts of our people, to ensure democracy survives, not the noise making, not the rascality of a street convention. We cannot submit to disobedience of a lawful order of the court. We must embrace the judiciary, whether it favors us or it doesn't. We submit to this principle of democracy, separation of power, and understanding of the dynamics of it.